our leaders and the politicians are not, they are not leading by example. They are not making the same sacrifices. That's just the problem. That is why Nigerians are not happy. That's why it seems there's this disconnect between the leaders and the led in the nation. But again, congratulations for staying alive, for keeping, hope alive. And definitely it will get better, because it can only get better. Once a nation has hit rock bottom, it can only get better.
All right. And fair enough. And looking at what Mr. President said yesterday in his, speech commemorating his second year anniversary, he spoke on the range of things, saying this was what or how they met Nigeria. His administration, and this is where it is right now. The foreign reserve was at a point, now it is at a particular point, showing and talking about improvement, and that forex backlog to, millions of dollars were cleared, $10 billion or so were cleared, and many things that he have done, in his own words, by the way. Now, if those things resonate with a lot of Nigerians is another thing. Now, if a country needs someone to spell out that, oh, your life is getting better, can't you see? Then one might say maybe the work is not yet done on them, to put it mildly. And these are some of the things that we'll see at this time. But then when you stay, just try to peruse, as we will have, especially with this side of the business of ours, to see what they have done. The thing is, you have to put all the components together. When they say that we have done this and done this and done that, at what expense? How much are we earning before? How much are we earning now? Are we still paying debt? Are we still paying it now? Some of those things. When they talk about, the decline in inflation, how significant is it? Or is it at a negligible percentage or percentages? Okay, it used to be maybe 30,000 in 20 or 35,000 in 2023, and now maybe it has, then it flew, because that was flying, not just increase, to like 100,000 at some point, 104, then 80,000, then 70,000. Now, averagely is around 55, 58, but you took it from 35. So if it's at 58, it wasn't at the point where you met it, so to say. So, but then, sometimes some of these things depend on who is saying it. But then, one thing I've always known, even during the military days, no government is completely empty. None. Either it's significant, either it's not significant, will be what the people will be talking about. There is no singular government. Even the Abacha days, that you will not see something positive about a particular government. And I stand to be corrected. But that doesn't mean that is where Nigeria wants to be. There are now some of those policies that they talked about. Now, if you peruse it further and interrogate it, there are many questions I'll be asked. Let's pick the issue of conditional cash transfer. For example, they have talked, I was reading a document this morning where it was quoted that the AGF, that's Lateef Fagbemi, said, in fact, let me read it out, that the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, announced that from 2017 to 2024, that's how many years? 7 years? A 6-year period, so to speak. Now, $659 million and 6.4 million pounds that were recovered funds were channeled towards conditional cash transfer and partly funded critical infrastructure development across Nigeria. 6-year period. Some of those Abacha loot, whatever loot that we are collecting, $659 million and 6.4 million pounds were channeled toward conditional cash transfer and funding infrastructural projects. Granted, that's what it said. But then the issue is, who is confirming? You can't be the one to collect. You can't be the one to execute without nobody, almost non-existent National Assembly, that will oversight what you are doing. Who is monitoring? Exactly. And what is the quality of what you have used it for? How many of these funds are still traceable? If they say, okay, come and do the accounts, can you do it? When they talk about conditional transfer, so who are the beneficiaries? In fact, you go back to the 0 point in which the question will be, how were the lists compiled in the first place? Which region is getting what? These are some of the questions I need to ask.
Anyway, talking about the fact that no government, according to, is completely bad.
None.
Okay, let's look at.
No, I'm not talking about bad. Zero.
Completely zero. Okay, let's look at this government, because in all fairness to this administration, to the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, let's look at some of the indices. Let's start with health, for instance. Just this year alone, we've seen the outcry how Nigeria is losing doctors and other health professionals. Currently, Nigeria is having a shortage of about 300,000 doctors. Okay, so healthcare, talk about the health sector, is not looking good at all. It's nothing to write home about. It's declining. Education, we talked about that yesterday, the same thing, declining. Security, insecurity has worsened in Nigeria. Economy, declining. I don't care what they say in the, what the figures say. They say we're looking good on paper, according to some experts, which is arguable. Some people argue that. Some experts say, okay, we're looking better on paper. But again, how are Nigerians dealing with the economy? It's not looking good. Majority, and I repeat, majority of Nigerians are living below the international poverty line. So how do we judge that? So what can we actually say that this administration has been doing well? If health is not there, education is not there, security is not there, corruption has skyrocketed. Look at the exchange rates, naira to dollar. Starting from where? From about 400 and something, say 450, and now we're at 1,000. Let's just say 1,600 to be modest. Okay. Again, so what really can we say? What can we be proud of as far as this administration is concerned? What exactly can we be proud of as Nigerians? That this is what this administration has achieved in 2 years. I'm afraid if you start to look at it from that direction, you begin to see that sincerely, this administration has not really done well for Nigeria. And that's the truth. I make bold to say that. I have nothing against Mr. President personally, no, but as a leader, I'm afraid you have failed Nigerians on your promises. When President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came out to campaign, he made a lot of promises. The truth remains. You go back and check yourself. You'll see that you have failed Nigerians. And I make bold to repeat that. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you have failed Nigerians on your promises. You've reneged on your promises, and we need to see you stepping up to do the right thing. And that's not just my opinion. That's the fact. That's the reality. You can fact check me and prove me wrong, and let's have it.
All right. Well, either they have done well or they haven't done well. What they have done will not be my job. That's why Bayo Onanuga and the rest of the guys are being paid. But then... and
when you criticize them, Bayo Onanuga will tell you that you're beginning to sound like Peter Obi.
Well, one further thing that we need to talk about is, in the middle of all this, either rightly or wrongly, there are more monies, official monies, in the hands of the state governor from the federation.
Absolutely. I mentioned that yesterday, yeah.
Yeah, more money. Are we speaking to those governors? Right. Many of them will not even come when these monies were increased, the allocations for each state. I'm not sure, I don't want to be quoted though, but I'm not sure anyone, without being asked, spoke to their, their indigents in their different states and say, oh, this is how much you are earning now. Until they were probed. In fact, some of them were doing a messy-like thing around it, dribbling around it, to say, oh, okay, until facts and figures were presented, because some of these things cannot be hidden again. Here's a public document. The money, the moment monies are shared at the center, then everybody knows what you've collected. Now, they have my money. Tinubu aside, and many of the state governors as well, especially many of them that had their elections during the 2023 general elections, there were two as well. It's not only Tinubu that was two yesterday. Absolutely. Many of those governors were two. I saw Sheriff Oborevwori making his own statement yesterday in Delta State, Dapo Abiodun in Ogun State, Jide Sanwo-Olu in Lagos State. Many of them who are having at least double of what they used to collect. Many of them as high, as lucky as collecting now triple. Now, for a state like Akwa Ibom, the highest earner, as far as the allocation, state allocation is concerned, we are not producing state. If they are collecting, for example, I'm not sure how much they are collecting, but if they are collecting, somebody's double can be significantly higher than some states triple. Absolutely. That's the way it is. For a state that is collecting 6 million and you are collecting 18 million now, and a state that used to collect, billions, and you used to collect 23 billion, now you are collecting 46 billion. So a state double can be bigger than a state triple, or even in 4 places now. These are some of the things. Are we interrogating these governors enough to ask them, what are you doing with this money? You used to collect 23 billion, for example, naira. Now you are collecting 46 billion. Have you doubled what you are doing in those states?
Absolutely.
These are some of the questions we need to ask, apart from Tinubu. Granted, whatever he's doing and his policy, most of the times, the policies that affect the people are driven from the center. We know. But how about the governors? Are we holding them accountable enough to say, how many teachers do we have when you are collecting 23 billion? How many of those teachers do we still have now? Have you doubled them? Security in your state, how is it? Public infrastructure, how is it? I think these are further conversations that you should be asking every state. There is no singular state that has not, had its state given more money. None.
Absolutely. Allocations have been increased. Just recently, one of the state governors, I think, on those states, the opposition party were actually accusing him that, see, security votes for states. Most governors treat it as if it's their personal income.
Not just in Ondo State. It's all over.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
And it's not accountable.
Exactly. So they just spend it the way they want.
Because it was brought in during the military days, and you are not supposed to. It's supposed to be given to you to, cushion the security, whatever component in your state. Is not something that I'm not sure EFCC can even ask you, how did you spend? Because if you say,
but they should be accountable. They should be accountable.
Then we'll talk about the source. How did it come? It came during the military days, and they were not accountable. And it was how it came. It's not part of allocation. It's a security vote. So if the governor said he should be accountable, I agree with you 100% because it's public funds.
Absolutely.
Now, if a governor said, I've used it, he has used it, but not even about allocation, the security vote now, when you're having 200 million, some collect, as we hear, some collect as much as 400 million, 500 million, depending on the stage. That on one side. How about the allocation that is given to those states? In these states, teachers' recruitment has been promised more than a year ago. All we are hearing till now is it's at the final stage. It's at the final stage. Nobody knows how many final stages that we are having. That's in Osun State. How about in Ekiti? How about in Ondo? How about in Taraba? How about in Gombe, Jigawa? Governors, I think they have more.
So leaders at all levels should be held accountable. Absolutely.
Not just a Tinubu thing.
You know why it's all about. You know why it's all about Tinubu now, yeah? Because the bulk ends up stops at his table. So he should even be the one to start calling them out. This is what you were getting before. This is what you are getting now. What have you done with it?
It's a constitutional duty.
You heard our guest.
The president cannot ask the state governor how he spends the money.
You heard our guest yesterday saying that Tinubu is not even talking about corruption. So if you as the leader, you are the number one man, you are the driver. If you are not talking about corruption, then what do you expect? It's going to be a free fall. So that we put it in the right context. Some of these things, the distribution is an allocation. It's a constitutional thing. There is an account. It's a joint venture. The allocation, fact, collect yours, I collect mine, you collect his, that's all. We meet next month. It's a constitutional thing. So a president doesn't have the right to ask the state governor how he's spending his money. That's why we have institutions. These anti-crime agencies, anti-whatever, money laundering, or EFCC, the ICPCs, even Nigeria police, if petitions are written to them, that's why we have them. But the thing is, can they function without a big guy somewhere calling somebody to say, stand down? What's wrong with you? Who are you? Where a state governor can go to another former state governor and do an extraction movie to extract a former governor, his predecessor, and nothing will happen. And months after, the guy will show up and say, I'm ready. And he's ready. He will go to court, he will be given bail, and then he keeps enjoying himself. That's what we are seeing. The president cannot ask a governor, how are you spending your money? The only thing he can do is to publish whatever they have shared and let the people know this is what you have. That's why we have the State House of Assembly. If you remember, they are the people saddled with that responsibility. But in reality, what can most of them do? Because they are appendages of the executives. These are people that one Baba will bring and say, oh, for my local government, this is who we want to. Governor, do you agree? Okay, it's my boy, I agree. How can those boys come out to say, Your Excellency, how are you spending our money?
the functionality of our institutions.
That's a problem.
Checks and balances. If you ask me, I would say the legislature is the most important part.
Absolutely.
Of the House.
Absolutely. That's why I kept talking about the National Assembly. Yeah.
Either at the national level, either they can summon a state governor.
Absolutely.
A functional National Assembly can summon a president.
But do they even know?
Tomorrow.
Do they even know their jobs? That's the question. Or they didn't just want to do it?
You know, you are not a parliamentarian. You know that job. I know that job. Are you saying those that are saddled with responsibility doesn't know? They know.
Then why are they refusing to do their job?
You're asking me? We are both staff for Western Spirit Television. We have a lot to talk about. Nigeria, right? If you want to say, let's do it right. It's a multi-dimensional approach. Now, when the local governments start having more money, Daniel, you know the conversation will change. This autonomy that they have been given, if it's real autonomy, financial autonomy, the moment you have elected...
You know, the governors are still fighting it.
And now they have more money in their kitty. Do you know what a local government chairman will feel like when he starts getting that money?
Absolutely.
Then it will not just be about the president. It will not just be about state governor. It will be your representative, mine, at the local councils. What they now have, because at that point, officially, no governor will be able to say, oh, give me the money, except there is an internal arrangement. Nigeria is a big place, and we have a lot of work to do. But right now, we have to take time. This is the TGF edition, you know, and whatever has happened during the week. Now, if you have to do a recap, the WAEC, you know, messed up some students in many states 2 days ago with whatever they are writing, and I've been monitoring their ex handle, nothing on that place. But
they've been summoned by
I learned they released a statement. Who?
They are the White Nigeria. I understand they've been summoned by National Assembly to appear within, I think it was 24 hours they gave them. So,
by who again?
So let's
summoned by who?
National Assembly.
The red or the green?
I don't know when they just said National Assembly. I don't know the details yet. So let's see how that plays out.
Panzer, right? A lot of things to really look into. But right now, the papers are in, and that will be our next point of stop. Is Morning Spring and extended, you know, the opinion and the review, the session. We are live on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. Stay with us. All right, let's kickstart with the These Day newspaper. And of course, almost all the papers on these front pages are having, you know, the felicitations rolling. And of course, for Mr. President are two, Mr. President are two. But then other things are still there. So let's start with the Nation newspaper. The Nation, talking about what is happening in the nation. Now, we have at the top strip, what president should do with the economy before 2027. What the president should do before 2027. And exports project deliverables in 2 years. Export project deliverables in 2 years. And Tinubu rescued rivers with emergency rule, says Fubara.
Coming from Fubara. You know, I keep saying it.
I can see you giggling.
Trust politicians at your own peril, at your own risk. This same Fubara, this same governor Fubara, who came out and said, oh, my spirit has left that place. I don't want to go back. Now he's singing a new tune. Okay, now he's saying that the president actually saved rivers with emergency rule. When all his supporters were saying, no. What the president did is not in our favor. He's not saving us.
He shut them down.
But the person now involved is coming out, singing another tune, saying the president has saved the rivers. You can't try.
Do you have a contrary opinion to that?
No, I don't think we should take politicians seriously anymore.
Hold on. Look at the person at the seat is saying, this Baba has saved my career.
Look at the emotional speech he gave at that church service at Irving Clark's funeral memorial, whatever.
Emotional?
Yes, emotional. Saying
how
no.
Emotional?
That they should even ask him if he's still interested.
Yeah.
That his spirit has left the place. That he's looking better. He's feeling good. All of a sudden, You're saying something else.
He hasn't said.
Now you are saying you are saying that the president saved rivers. Remember how all his supporters were saying that no, what the president did is wrong. He's not helping us. He's not. We even interviewed his senior special advisor on media here, who said no, that what he did, that he's not helping them, is not in their favor. Now his principal has come out to say the president actually saved his state.
So everybody will know now they have been saved again, because the man or any of the aides of Mr. Fubara will know that, oh, maybe we didn't read it very well. We have actually been saved, and that means they have been saved. You know, if you have been saved, you are saved. And that's all. You know, that's what he's saying. But then, you know, you might want to read further what he means by that. Tinubu rescued rivers. He's not even talking about himself. He said Tinubu rescued, according to the headline, by the way, Tinubu rescued rivers with emergency rule. You know, that's a statement that is loaded. So
what happens to all those governors, all those states who actually filed a suit just to support him? You know, this statement now technically makes what they're doing irrelevant. Well, you know, you're trying to fight for someone. Remember, right from the beginning, from the beginning, it was never part of it. During that meeting, it wasn't there. They filed the case and all that. Now, you know, people have been fighting for you
on his behalf.
Now, all of a sudden, you are saying, no, what the president did is right.
Is it that those people, the PDP governors, by the way, were they fighting for him as Fubara, or they were challenging the legality, you know, of that particular process of the state of emergency rule? Not just
it's still the same thing, because he's the one in the eye of the storm. Yeah. So he's still the one involved.
So to say, he will be the beneficiary, and maybe they will say the nation history. I mean, history, we always know that they fought for what is right. Well, but the man at the end of affairs, since that Edwin Clark event, you will know that something is going on.
Absolutely.
Now, if people are coming in your support to say, oh, let everybody, I think the priest was speaking in a way that, will support Mr. Fubara, even though he might not be saying it directly to support Fubara, but to say, let the right things be done. This man is being chanted. Let everybody remember God. But when he came on, Mr. Fubara said, my Lord, I know you are speaking, and then maybe divinely inspired. I agree. But please, let's narrow this conversation to the reason why they were there. That is the natural tribute, or the day of tribute for the late Edwin Clark, And later he said, if anybody is saying something on my behalf, you are saying it on your own. He already said it at that event. You are saying it on your own, because some of what you are saying is not helping me. We play the video here, actually. And if I think our producer, you should help us find that video. Not now, find it now, so that possibly we might talk about it. To say, you are not helping me. Please let everybody stand down. And somebody, we spoke to some persons that time to say, and they said, obviously, conversation is going on. To say, okay, I'm no more fighting. After that, Mr. Wike himself said he was at my house with APC governors, one former governor, one current governor, and he's still my boy. I'm not fighting him.
But sincerely, Femi,
that's what I said.
Sincerely, if you ask me, I'm
only fighting, according to Wike, I'm only fighting people that want to reap where they did so.
Coming from the governor, I'm afraid he shouldn't have said that the president saved rivers with emergency rule. Do you know how many people have gotten into this fight because of him? Look at the NBA, Nigerian Bar Association.
So you should fight to finish.
No. Look at the NBA supporting him, removing their meeting, their AGM from Rivers State just because of that and all the controversy.
Just because of the suspension of the governor.
And the state emergency
legality.
Rule. And the emergency rule in the state. So again, a lot of people got into this fight all because now you are saying...
you think he should have continued and fight to finish?
No, he shouldn't have even said, even if he wanted to, sheath his sword, and he shouldn't have even come out publicly to say that emergency rule, that the president saved rivers. Do you know how those people will feel? He's making them look like fools. That's my point.
At the end of the day, I'm not sure if actually politics works in that way in Nigeria. Obviously, there were talks that, possibly he has gone to beg. And when I asked them, we asked that question, and he said reconciliation moves are on. Did he go to beg? He said, yes, if you call it that way, fine. But then the governor said there is no price too big to pay to maintain peace. At that point,
Again,
you know,
like
as I say in Nigeria, you still want me to tell you?
Trust politicians at your own peril.
All right, that will be all from the Nation newspaper.
And from the Nation newspaper, we move to the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. Family loses 12 members. Over 50 Al-Majiri missing. Oh, family loses 12 members. Over 50 Al-Majiri missing. Family loses 12 members. Over 50 Al-Majiri missing. That's as a result of the Niger flood. I mean, we understand some, terrible floods have been, should I say, passing through Niger. Citizens of Niger State have been experiencing some, terrible floods.
Terrible flood.
Claiming lives.
I saw the video yesterday.
Floods.
It was terrible. A tank, the tank, these filling station tank, the ones that are usually buried under the ground. Maybe it was, not yet sunk. And you know how big, how gigantic. You could see these tanks rolling like you are rolling a bucket, with the magnitude of that flood, especially in a place called Bida in Niger State.
Definitely, that kind of flood cannot be from just rain.
Well,
it cannot be from rain. Perhaps again, we have release of water from the dam and all that. That's quite massive. So we do wish them the best of luck as they try to tackle that. And of course, your state emergency management agency, I hope they're on top.
Even the national emergency, the NEMA.
Absolutely.
At this point,
they need support.
before we get to this level, that is why, these are natural occurrences, by the way, but sometimes it has some element of human negligence. And I'll explain negligence in the fact that this is why we have science, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Some of these things are foreseen. They don't just happen, They don't just happen. That is why you have NIMET and all of these agencies, even the state level, to say something is going to happen, right? And so, precautionary measures should have been taken. Talk about evacuation. At least if you are living in the lowlands, please go to the highlands. If there are things that will happen, if you are living close to lagoons, if you are living in a waterlogged area, please leave. These are some of, if actually science is not to be trusted, some of these nations that experience tornadoes and whirlwind, a lot of
they
will have been destroyed.
No, that's what I'm going to. I think our own science here in this part of the world has not gotten to that level. Because in other parts of the world, in other climes, they will tell you that this typhoon will hit this place at such and such time. Before it comes, they've predicted, they've seen it coming, they've done their calculations, so they know exactly when it will hit. Even earthquakes can be predicted. They follow it, they know where the epicenter would be. I mean, they can predict all these things, and they'll tell you that, it's likely to hit at this time. It's coming. They are monitoring it. The movement.
And it's my move.
Yeah, they are monitoring
to another area tomorrow, and it will move to another. Is it because of really science, or our science, our tech has not getting to that level, or that some of our people that are supposed to take action will not take action? Because I remember many warnings from NIMET, so states will be experiencing this kind of torrential rain. You should be ready. You should do this. But do they take action?
That's the problem.
Now, if you say a particular place like Bida was going to experience torrential rain and very horrible, natural disaster and all of those things, it's not even a disaster. It will become a disaster because we don't take action.
Absolutely.
Now, state government, local government, where are they to say, my people, this is what's going to happen in this area. And because we love you, we care for you, we don't want this thing to meet you here, we must evacuate you. And then we have made provision in a particular place. Let's go. There will be transportation, there will be food, there will be medical team standing by. When we move you, for the next 2 weeks, please bear with us. We are taking you there. You have nothing significant to worry about. We are going to move you there. That's the part that is always missing. The warnings will always come.
Absolutely.
Now, where's the Ministry of Environment in Niger State? The Federal Ministry of Environment. All of these people that are supposed to be responsible. It is when those things have happened. That is where you now have politicians coming with their babariga, and they will even cover their nose. Because the place is thinking for you to, and then cameras will be there for them to show that they care. You don't care.
They are working.
And you can't tell people to evacuate where they are without provision. And you know, that's why and you know, we must talk to people as well. There are people that will tell you, this is my father's land, that won't leave. You won't leave, you will die.
No, for those ones,
you go and join your
there's
father.
Nothing to say to them.
Let's
talk about those who actually have provisions. But again, we're not saying that. Yeah.
These are some of the issues. You can't tell people to leave. Leave to where? Where are they living to? When they leave to that place, do they have enough food? The communal issues that happen not quite far from us here, how many days did it take the state government to attend to them properly? Even at that, there are still tales of hunger all over the place. We know this thing was going to happen.
Take action. It really shows how much leaders care about their people.
That is, if they care at all.
People, we keep seeing them for who they are. I mean, when things like this happen, it shows that they don't really care about the people. All they care about is being in power, winning elections, and as soon as they're in office, they're already thinking of the next election and how they're going to get back to office. And people can just see it for what it is. You still see people, still singing their praises still because of the little things they get. I mean, the stipends they get from some of them.
That's the
people
issue.
Are not reasoning clearly.
That is the issue, because you know what we do around here in Nigeria, across party lines, by the way, it's not just a party. It's the fact that we rinse, we repeat. That's all. People that are saying, oh, this particular person hasn't done well. Why you are saying that? Some people will tell you, can he do everything? Do you want to kill him? Is he the first? What's your problem? And the moment you try to raise eyebrow, then they say, oh, you are of so religion. Oh, no wonder. Oh, you don't speak our tribe. Go back to your village. This is your agitation. Take it back to your village. You don't belong to us here. And the politicians know this game. Then they will tell you, they will come and say, you see, he doesn't love you people. And they will say, we have seen Iranka Dede. And then he takes their money and then he gives them just freebies. And that's all. The next 4 years, the same guy or another guy from another party will come and promise them. You know, Nigeria is a place that, especially in Africa, but in Nigeria is your rights. We leave it to God. God's right, we take it over. If you understand, people will fight for God. How did you call God that name? How can you say God is not doing what? Then some of them will go ahead and kill and call it blasphemy. I'm not supporting blasphemy. It's wrong. And it can be handled with the law.
Well, you should let your God fight for himself.
Let God fight for himself. After all, you call him God.
Absolutely.
You fight for God's right because somebody is abusing God. For your own right, you now say, God did. He go look at you.
Oh, boy.
Just the way it works. So sometimes people will say we deserve every leader that we get. Absolutely. Because they are not brought from Mars. Absolutely. They are not brought from Pluto.
Absolutely.
They are from here.
But I believe Nigeria will wake up one day. A new crop of leaders will rise and change everything. And all these leaders that have plundered the wealth and resources of the nation, they will pay for it. I'm very sure of that.
All right.
Anyway, that'll be all from the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper.
You know, I support you. The faith I'm having with this thing you are saying is like saying Arsenal will win the Champions League next season. Very, very, very obvious. I'm not throwing shots.
Anything can happen.
Or you are saying Man United will win the league next season.
Anything can happen.
That's why I support such a notion that this Man United will win the Premier League next season. What God cannot do
does not exist.
But you must have data for you to even be part of that program. All right, the Punch is next. You know, we are having an extended, session of the newspapers this morning. The Punch. Mid-term review. APC fights back as Labour counters Tinubu's scorecard. Mid-term review. APC fights back as Labour counters Tinubu's scorecard. All right. And with riders, ruling party Ribadu defend Tinubu's reforms. Ruling party Ribadu defend Tinubu's reforms. And NLC, TUC, Amnesty decry worsening hardship and insecurity. Really? NLC, TUC, that's the Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress. Amnesty International decry worsening hardship and insecurity. All right. And one thing for me here is this. Ruling party, the Ribadu defend Tinubu's reforms. If the ruling party is defending the leaders, their leaders' reform, I think that's okay. That's what they are supposed to do.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. That's what they'll do.
They should do that
because it's their leader.
He's speaking for them. and is riding on their ruling on their behalf and on behalf of all Nigerians, but then he's their party candidate, that's fine. But when the NSA, yeah, he's a party member, but then that office, you are supposed to be the National Security Advisor. And many persons have said, since Nuhu Ribadu joined or assumed this position, he has been more involved in things that are not supposed to be part of his office. Really.
You remember when he came in, just shortly after he came in, it was this same Nuhu Ribadu, the National Security Advisor, who came out publicly to say that they inherited a mess from Buhari. That the economy was in a mess. And Nigerians were telling him that, is it not the same APC? Is it not a continuation?
But was
it not Tinubu that installed Buhari in the first place? No, that's what Nigerians will tell you.
That particular defense should not come from his office. It should be a serious office.
Absolutely.
The NSA is a very serious office.
Absolutely.
That's the desk that coordinates security in Nigeria. He advises the president. He coordinates the defense in Nigeria, of course, with the military architecture. And when you find such a person speaking on politics, speaking on, who inherited what from which administration, you want to make a joke. No,
he might just be an economic expert as well. We never can tell. He might be wearing, several caps.
No, the cap that he's being called the NSA for a reason, National Security Advisor. I know what he's saying, but that should be, if actually he's being asked this particular question of, has the administration fared economy, you should tell them that's not my beat.
Absolutely.
I don't speak for that beat. I'm part of the administration, but channel your question towards the people that are responsible for that, so that people will know that, when you talk about serious things in which defense is, then talk to the NSA. He's in charge of that. But now when you are talking about, somebody took over my party or my principal, you are supposed to be the NSA, for God's sake. And then the NLC and the TUC are saying things are getting hard. I'm not sure many Nigerians, harder. Many Nigerians will not take them seriously.
Absolutely.
The Joe Ajero, the Festus Osifo, and all of them, and you say, excuse us.
Nigerians are suffering. The only Nigerians who are not complaining are Nigerians who are around these politicians, who are eating the crumbs, who are getting the crumbs from them, who can't think clearly anymore. They're not thinking straight because of the crumbs they are getting from politicians. And again, it's as if politicians too, they don't really know what's going on, or they are pretending not to know. The people are suffering. They are getting more money, so they are singing the praises of the president. They are all supporting, from different across party lines. Even Abga, even Anambra, when the president visited, declaring support for the president's second term. These guys are just getting money. They are not thinking straight anymore. They are not speaking truth to power anymore. And that's a problem. These sycophants surrounding leaders because of the crumbs they are getting. But the true Nigerian, the bulk of Nigerians are suffering. I'm a Nigerian. The economy is biting hard. The question, and I'm experiencing
the question you will be asked is, are you suffering?
Yes, I am suffering. Okay, you want to hear that? You want to hear that? Fine, I am suffering.
That will be all. That will be all from the. Okay, that was not all. All right, Tinubu's cabinet. Aviation sector struggles to stay aloft in turbulent skies. Tinubu's cabinet, aviation sector struggles to stay aloft in turbulent skies. That's where, the SAN Festus Keyamo is making his own wave, if he's making any. And WAEC under fire as exam chaos sparks outrage. WAEC under fire as exam chaos sparks outrage. The outrage, obviously, is from Nigerians. It's not from the power brokers.
Absolutely.
Because you'll have expected many state governments, they don't have power over WAEC, we know, but to say something on behalf of their citizens and people living in their state, that especially the young people, impressionable minds, that are supposed to be the leaders of tomorrow, that were put in such a terrible situation yesterday. WAEC released a statement, I saw it, and they were like, okay, this and that, and all of those things, and they regret that happened. And it was quite unfortunate. Possibly, I will get to that particular statement, but it was because they wanted something good, and they will not condone exam malpractices and all of those things. So those were their reasons. Now, what asked the state governments that their subjects, I don't call them subjects, citizens who are affected, indigents of those states, that have been made to experience those things, what have they said so far on the matter? The Federal Minister of Education, the man in charge, Tunji Alausa, is a lot. The way the man comes out and speak to issues, sometimes you wonder what is happening. Do you interrogate these processes before you make a position? The jam situation happened, and it was more like the technology is what is exposing malpractice. I mean, blocking malpractices before. And when that thing happened, nothing from him. This has happened. I've not had anything.
I think he should have resigned. You know, I said it before and I'm saying it again. Whoever knows him should tell him. I should have resigned. Not just, you know, when we were calling out the JAMB registrar, it's not just about the JAMB registrar. Even the Minister of Education. You know, when people are saying you are a square peg in a round hole, I mean,
you don't know the kind of peg that
it's not a do or die. Just resign. Let
and I'm asking you where? In Nigeria?
Yes, no.
Okay.
He's not hungry. He will go back to his profession.
That will be all from the front page of the Punch.
And from the Punch newspaper, finally we move to the front page of This Day newspaper this morning. On This Day newspaper, Total Energies strikes deal to sell interest in Bonga oil field for $510 million. Total Energies strikes deal to sell interest in Bonga oil field for $510 million with riders. Roger Brown, Seplat will redefine Nigeria's gas future through innovation. Seplat will redefine Nigeria's gas future through innovation. Seplat, quite a giant, right? They're doing a lot, making so much profit in their Nigerian business right there. And below that, we have NLNG. NLNG launches Human Capital Development Program for $5 billion, train 7 projects. NLNG launches Human Capital Development Program for $5 billion, train 7 projects. You can read up details of that story in the newspaper today. A U.S. Federal Appeal Court reinstates Trump's tariffs after trade court ruling. You'll find that on page 32. U.S. Federal Appeal Court reinstates Trump's tariffs after trade court ruling. Page 32 of This Day newspaper. And that'll be all from This Day newspaper this morning.
All right. You know, I talked about the WAEC and their explanations yesterday, why they were explaining why the delay happened in the WASC exam across Nigeria. What they said was that they have provided an official examination following public outcry over students writing their English language WASC paper late into the night on Wednesday in parts of Nigeria. And, you know, some of these affected states include Osun again, Benue, Ogun, Oyo, and several other states were forced to write the English language paper in darkness due to the late arrival of examination materials. Now, in a statement issued by spokesperson Moyosola Additional, WAEC, that's West African Examination Council, said the delay was the result of deliberate security and logistical measures aimed at preventing the leakage of examination materials and safeguarding the credibility of the test. While noting that the council ultimately achieved its objective of preserving the exam's integrity, the body acknowledged that certain challenges affected the smooth and timely delivery of materials. And let me quote them. They said, the WAEC appreciate the understanding and support of all stakeholders during this period. We remain committed to upholding the highest standard in the conduct of examinations and shall continue to promote academic excellence. We recognize the importance of timely conduct of examinations and the impact of this decision on the candidates, their schools and parents, and we sincerely apologize for any inconveniences caused. QED. That's all. You know, that's all. And when you check the tone, meaning we did what we did because we want to maintain our integrity and to prevent, they said, preserving the exam's integrity, and we achieved our aim. Although there are some inconveniences, we apologize.
Again, it's all about...
So check that tone.
Look at it's how they think, their minds. I'm just, how do their minds work? That's the question now. Look at the tone of that message that they're trying to... No one is saying you shouldn't safeguard the integrity of your institution, but there are ways to do it, not at the expense of innocent students. Are you telling me it's the fault of those students? that there were lapses that you are responsible for.
Preventing the leakage of examination. Many people are saying, which exam? Is it not the leakage that led to this point? Didn't the exam leak?
No, leakage or not, whose fault is it? Is it the fault of the students?
Exactly. Mine or yours.
So you're not allowing them to suffer for it, and you're saying
because
boldly,
you want to protect your integrity
of your organization.
Exams that are supposed to have started by 2 was being written around 7 p.m., 9 p.m. Students going back to their home at around 11 p.m. in the night. No provision from the same WAEC.
You know,
while they were safeguarding their integrity, there is no additional place for welfare to say this is our fault, or if there is a way we can cushion the effect of what has happened. How about the staff members in those schools? How about the vigilators themselves? Your integrity is what you are after, and so you apologize. That's all.
You know, each time I see occurrences like this, I remember this man, Senator Ben Murray Bruce, you know, who kept talking about common sense. Common sense. I just want to make common sense. I think the problem has always been a deficit, a severe deficit of common sense in Nigeria. And that's the problem.
And commons, you know, working institution, actually. And it's a place of WAEC to do whatever they want to do. It's the place of the government of this country to show WAEC that you don't mess with our citizens. That's the strong language.
Absolutely.
That they should make. We expect whatever they are going to do today. Is it today that those guys have been, I mean, the National Assembly is inviting them? Okay, we'll wait to see if it will not be take about. If it will not be just some rabble-rousing and all of these things. If it's Natasha and the issues, you see the kind of energy the National Assembly members, and this is not supporting Natasha or anybody, but you see the energy because the egos were bruised, you feel offended, you feel the Senate institution has been bastardized. That same energy and more is what they should use in talking to WAEC today. And Nigerians are expecting a very strong state. How can you say it's because of your integrity and then because the sanctity of the institution and you don't want leakage? And so
instead of them to admit their failure,
you apologize for the inconveniences. And that's all. So you don't know what has happened. Did they check with those students how they are faring or their own is? We have a work to do. Come and write the papers. And anytime you write it is fine. We apologize if it's in the night. And that's all. Yesterday, after such a terrible thing that happened 2 days ago, yesterday, many of them still wrote geography. The same student that wrote into the night, they still wrote geography yesterday.
You know what, Femi? No system is perfect in the world. So I'm not saying things cannot go wrong. No, things can actually go wrong. But when things go wrong, admit your failure, admit your errors. And don't try to make others suffer for it. That's my point. Things can go wrong.
Admit and correct it properly. Nothing stopped them from postponing that particular exam. It has happened all over. The children will go back to their home. They will come back refreshed. Absolutely. Is it because of their own logistics? You know, that they don't want to have an extra day of examination. So every machinery was pushed. You people must write these exams.
Making the students suffer for it.
Such an
that's not fair.
Agonizing day.
Not fair
for many persons. Where to say, but I will say no system is perfect. You know, people that are doing these things can do whatever they think they want to do. That is why we have a government to say, is this what you have done to my people? This is our position on this matter. And we are waiting for that position. Either at the Federal Ministry of Education level, at the National Assembly level, or everybody that care. Where are all those first ladies? Oh, you are our children. You are the leaders of tomorrow. Is it when you want to carry Ankara and do Children's Day only? And will you expect them to come out?
And when they say you are not their mother, some people start getting, they feel they've been insulted.
This is the part where we take a break.
You know what I'm talking about.
And then we'll make a return. Stay with us.